So for this assignment, I'm really looking for you to go back to your original paper that you turned in, the New Literacies paper. That was turned in about 3 weeks into our semester, so you've had another 3 weeks or so of reading since then. So part of that, go back, reread it. What were your thoughts then? What do you understand now? Think about where in New Literacies, multimodality and multiliteracies might play a role in your classroom and your personal life. So with this, you may want to go back to the original assignment where I had different questions that might help you. But I'm really expecting some type of a remix. So these ideas might still be there, but they're going to be in a different format. I'm looking for multiple modes to be presented. This can happen in many different ways. You may want to use PowerPoint in a similar way to what you just did with the poetry project. You might want to play around with a movie program such as iMovie or Windows Movie Maker and just start to play around so you know what you're doing for your digital narrative. You might want to do a similar type of thing of what I'm doing and maybe do a voiceover. Maybe that works with your PowerPoint. I believe one of the examples that you have is somebody doing that. There's also an example that I didn't show you, but what she ended up doing was her original paper focused on different types of new literacies, but what she ended up doing was kind of talking through the practice of Facebook in her remix. So she did what I'm doing right now and opened up her Facebook page, kind of walked through different things, and then really examined some of what she thought was interesting about where Facebook has us now and things like that. But what I really want you to understand is that I'm expecting very much, I'm going to focus on this layering of meaning through different modes in this project. So I'm really looking for you to do what you've done in the poetry project and what you will do in the digital narrative in using special effects, animation, sound, graphics, images, all of these things, in addition to the ideas about technology, new literacies, and learning. And perhaps bring in quotations from people, perhaps bring in major points that you think you're going to take into your classroom. You know, if you have really latched onto the idea of game-based learning, maybe talk about that, bring some pictures in, maybe some music, all of those things. But for this assignment, we seem to have, for many people, been using Prezi a lot, which is great, and I think there are a lot of great things about that. However, from what I've seen so far, most of what we've been doing with Prezi has really been limited to the written mode of communication. So I would really like you to try something different than Prezi. If you've already started working on a Prezi, get in touch with me. We can talk about how to integrate some different modes into what you're already working on. But I think Prezi itself limits what you can do, or perhaps just the way that you've been using it so far has been limiting. So before you use a Prezi for this assignment, get in touch with me and let's kind of brainstorm some ideas of how to add the multiple modes into a Prezi if that's what you're doing. Otherwise, I think there are some other options. VoiceThread, Blogster has some options where I think you can add in perhaps some sound, maybe do a sound file in GarageBand or Audacity as a free podcast creator for those of you that don't have GarageBand. So there are lots of ideas. VoiceThread is an option, and it would do the podcast type idea, and you'd be able to do the voiceover as well. If you're, I'm purposely leaving this very open so you can have some creative freedom in this. If that's a struggle for you, get in touch with me, and I'll be happy to kind of problem solve with you and try to come up with an idea for this project.